I'm here with the BMW M1000RR. We're gonna get a fresh cold start here. This, of course, is with the factory tuning. So let's hear this 1000cc monster come to life here. Get the M message. Okay, well, let's try it again. All right, let's give that another go. Okay, yeah, this is the pinnacle of German engineering. Okay. All right, this is going really well so far. Okay, we're gonna keep giving this some tries here. That didn't sound too good. Factory tuning at the moment, so that popping you're hearing is lean popping out of the intake because it's so lean. So after we let this warm up, I'm going to take it for a ride, give you guys some impressions, but just from the startup, I can tell you that a $40,000 motorcycle probably should take about 2 minutes to start up. It's a little embarrassing. All right, now the bike's finally warmed up and I'm taking her out. I do have it on Race Pro right now. That's usually all I ride it on. You can ride it in the modes, of course, but Race Pro, you start losing like your Bluetooth connections, your music, things like that. So, of course, you can run it in Race 2. This also has the daytime running lights enabled at the moment. So you can see there on the cluster, the green indicating that it's running now, and then the automatic, meaning there's a sensor on the dash cluster itself. When it sees enough light, it turns off the main headlights and just leaves the halos at the bottom while the bike is riding, which normally the headlights and the halos are just always on. Now I've got the, this is all factory tuning right now. I just left in third, yeah. Now that means we got a huge dead spot here in second gear. So let me just give it the beans. So it only comes down to about 10,000 RPM. Till then it's about, feels dead. Quick shifter's not so bad. Nice and crisp. Even stock feels better than most bikes I've ridden, to be honest. So we're just going to go take this for a cruise, get some impressions of things. See what it's like this, and then we'll see what it's like when we get it tuned. The M1000RR, of course, is supposed to be the pinnacle of the BMW performance line for 2021, or at least this is when it debuted in 2021. And since then, been well received by everyone. A lot of great reviews. I mean, there really is something special about this bike when you ride it. Aesthetically looking at it, it does look exactly the same as an S1000RR. And I mean, as far as the power numbers go, not really much of a huge difference. There is a gearing change they do to the sprockets on this bike. There are a bunch of little changes they do. So you're going to have a titanium rod, a forged moly piston, a half a point more compression, different cylinder head configuration, different cams, different airbox. I mean, pretty much it looks the same. I mean, other than the wings and a design, but it's really just a lot of little things changed, and they did this specifically for WSBK to homologate the bike so they can be more competitive. Now, in its base form, you can see the shocks here, very standard shocks you wouldn't expect from a $40,000 bike. Rear shocks, the same thing, none of it's electronic, and I can swap out, let's say this for Olin's components, and there wouldn't be any of those errors that you see on the S1000RR standard or the S1000 or the M1 package or anything like that. It still does have the heated grips and cruise control like the S, but everything else, like the suspension, is manual on this thing. Everything's got to be done. You can even adjust the bone in the rear of it, and there's a whole bunch of adjustments you can make. The geometry of the bike, which is different than the standard S from right out of the box. I'm going to get this bike up here in the hills and give some acceleration, see how fast it goes. We'll do a couple different passes up there and see if we can, what kind of speed we can get. The difference between an S1000 and M1000, or at least in the US version here, is we not only have the flat spot in the middle of the RPM range, but there's also a flat spot up top. So they also take power away up top on the bike, and it's at least I want to say 20 wheel horsepower up top, as well as the mid-range that you already have. So if we were to go out of the box, S1000RR drag race versus M1000RR, the S1000RR wins for half the price. Not having huge problems with the stock file here, except for the fact of the deadening power in the mid-range and the top end. I mean, I've even raced an S1000RR with the mid-range, the same mid-range dead spot that this bike has, and lost to an R6 on a drag race up to 140 miles per hour. It was not from a dead stop, it was from a second gear roll at about 40 miles an hour, where the problem actually is the worst. I wanted to kind of show how bad it was. Alright, the acceleration, I can definitely feel the dead spot in the mid-range. No wheelie. Usually that thing wheelies like crazy on the tuning. Of course, as expected, it feels great through a turn, feels at home, feels extremely balanced. Alright, I'm going to turn around here and see if I can get some good stuff on the way back. I'm also going to get some 60/130 times stock versus flashed. Well, let's see what we can do here coming out of the turn. See if we got traffic here. Alright, no traffic. Let's do it. Alright. I can feel the dead spot. So overall up top, it's just not what you expect. It's not screaming like it should. I mean, I know because I've gone back and forth from flash to stock, and I'll of course show you that right after I flash. I'll go back to the same passes and we'll see the differences, and you can even hear the differences. And of course, I'll wait till tomorrow to do the after video because I want to do a true cold start for you guys. I don't want to like just flash this thing and start up, because then that'll be a warm start, and that's not comparatively fair against the factory tuning. Although I think the bike just not starting up at all and just being DOA would have been less embarrassing than what you guys just saw. So as long as the flash start even works at all after a minute, I think we got to win. But I think it's going to be a first start and go thing. The cold start stuff is due to the bike being extremely lean on startup, extremely lean. And there's multiple reasons why BMW does this. Of course, BMW knows what they're doing with their motorcycles. I'm not trying to say they don't. There's reasons why they have to do it that way. I'm not going to get into why, but they have to do it that exact way. Otherwise, hey, can't sell the bike. So, what BT Moto does is finds all the things that tie their hands, and we just make it, we build upon that platform, just make it the best it possibly can be. I mean, this testing on this bike, for example, I have a bike here in Southern California, they have a bike there in Upton, Massachusetts, so 2 test bikes that we're running constantly. I'm on the road, I'm here in, you know, right now in February, it's 80 degrees today, you know, it's a beautiful day. Massachusetts, they're damn near freezing or frozen over there right now. So we get warm testing, hot testing, cold testing. We get to do a lot of testing that many other people don't get to do or don't have the luxury of doing. Not to mention that Bren over there has 2 dynos. He even got a dyno jet just because people kept on complaining about the Mustang dyno numbers. In the dyno jet, we have all kinds of equipment over there, all kinds of logging equipment, and we spend hundreds of hours getting this bike right. Now, to be honest with you, the stock tuning right here, I'd be pretty upset if I bought this bike and it stayed like this. Even just in the cold start part, just the cold starting, I would throw this thing in the trash. I would literally just take it back to the dealership and say, it's broken, give me my money back, this is junk. I mean, I shouldn't spend 2 minutes trying to start my motorcycle in the morning just to get somewhere, you know? All right, come on, give me the beans. There's like nothing there. It reminds me of the CBR, which there was like this huge dead spot in that thing too, where it was just random. This thing is the same thing. It's just this horrible dead spot that it feels like the bike is literally has like it's anchored to the ground somewhere. So it's not really a joy to ride. It's unpredictable because the power just comes on. So if I'm in the middle of a turn, you know, 7,000-8,000, it reaches that 9,000 barrier and starts to put the power on, it's going to upset the balance of the bike in the middle of a turn. And this bike is literally meant for one thing, and that's the track. Now, of course, the irony is I'm riding it on the damn street, but it's also meant for the track. I mean, it's just not, you know, when you ride a bike and it's a joy to ride, you just want to keep riding it no matter what. Like, you're disappointed when the journey ends. Yeah, this isn't this bike right now. There's nothing there. This Tacoma would probably give me a fight. Now I'm going to do all the 60 through 130 passes in second gear. You should be doing them in first gear and just really kind of fighting the wheelie control. Or, I mean, fighting the wheelie itself. You should have the control off. So I'll be starting in second gear at the dead spot to kind of show you guys the difference between flashed and unflashed. Because it's huge, huge. It's really almost indescribable. I mean, you tell someone, hey, you gain, you know, 50 horsepower in the mid-range, and they start laughing. At least they did when we first started doing these bikes. Now it's kind of just a common thing. Yep, you get 50 horsepower by flashing it in the mid-range. Okay, 60 through 130 is checked. Okay, so we're gonna get 60 through 130 runs right now. Let's see what she does. Second gear. So here we go. 60 through 130. I always go a little bit over because the speedos are never quite accurate on these bikes, so I just keep it safe. So that was about 140 indicated. We'll see what it looks like on the draggy. Alright, now I'm getting her home, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to let her rest overnight so we get a nice fresh cold start, same comparison after we flash it in the morning tomorrow. Alright, we're back for day 2 of the review here. And I've got the M1000RR here ready for a cold start. I've already flashed it with the BT Moto handheld. So let's see how this startup goes versus the last startup. much better. No issues, no drama, no 5 minutes to start it, no high rev. To keep the revs down and nice and low like this is good. It's better for the warm-up of the motorcycle itself and the longevity of the engine overall. The higher the engine revs while the oil is cold, the more wear you're going to get on the engine components themselves. So it helps to keep the idle nice and low, and that's what the BT Moto Flash with the Stage 2 does. On the M1000, S1000, even the Stage 1 of the S1000 fixes the cold start issues. So let me let this thing warm up. I'll get on the bike and get you guys an after review here with the BT Moto Flash and explain the differences. Alright, it looks like we're ready to ride. Looks like the bike's warm enough. I really do like those daytime running lights. This is how they look 24/7. I mean, with the sun out. As soon as the sun goes down or it gets dark enough, the headlights automatically come on, but they'll always look like that with the halos while the bike's just running. Alright, we're ready to go here. You can see I've changed the screen up to one of the race screens, which I really like that race screen. There's a couple different ones. Oh yeah. Quick shifter's already noticeably a little bit faster. Smoother too. It was a little bit jerky before. Very nice. Yeah, the quick shifter is definitely a little bit faster and smoother. So automatically we got the cold starts better, shifting smoother. The throttle seems to have better input, more responsive. Let's see how she feels. I mean, second gear is usually where you would get the issues here, right? What is that, 40 or something like that? 6,000 RPM? Whoa! Whoa! Okay, alright. Yeah, we definitely don't have a flat spot anymore, that's for damn sure. I like it. Wasn't ready for it, man. Yeah! There's definitely a lot more pull in this bike. I mean, it never used to do that before. I mean, with the OEM Flash or the OEM factory tuning, it just pulls like a freight train now. Coming to a couple of slow spots here. I can kind of go over what this is. The Stage 2 is really about here. You're gonna get a self-tuning motorcycle basically. So it uses the factory widebands, which you'll keep in any exhaust you put on the bike or if you leave the stock on. And basically, when it sees a lean or rich condition, it will automatically change it, the air-fuel mixture itself. We just give it a target to hit, and it hits that target every single time. So you don't no more changing tuning or sync the side of the road with your laptop, with a power commander. This thing will just do it for you and always be optimized no matter the condition. And we're talking elevation, DA, anything. Any atmospheric condition, this thing's good to go. And man, is it good to go. Love the way the shifter feels at this point. Love the way the power feels now. Like I was saying before, it was kind of like a little bit dull to ride, but the bike still had something special. Well, now it really isn't dull to ride. I mean, this bike, if you turn all the assist off, like I have everything off right now, this bike will want to murder you, which is amazing. That's a feature I love to buy in a motorcycle. It wants to murder me. That's probably why I like my Ducati so much. definitely faster, more lively. I mean, look at this. I guess hang wheelies all day on this thing. All right, and we're gonna do a post-flash 60 through 130 test to show you guys the difference between stock and flashed. Because it's good to, it's great to have me sit here and say, yeah, this bike's fast, but you guys can't really see it at home. I mean, I'm sure the bike sounds better. The bike definitely sounds better on my end, but this will actually give you some quantifiable data between flashed and stock, when the only difference is the tuning. Everything else, all the variables are exactly the same. I even tried to get it on the same day weather today. Yesterday was a little bit windy, so I got it in today. All right, I got my draggy ready to go. I'll put it in my pocket here and do some runs. Alright, that pretty much wraps up the review for the bike. Overall, faster quick shifter, better throttle inputs, more responsive throttle, more power, no dead spots. Overall, the bike is absolutely a joy to ride at this point. I would strongly recommend this to anyone that has an S1000 or M1000RR.